New South Wales residents, though, are officially out of lockdown. Businesses opened their doors yesterday for the first time in months. However, there are still a range of restrictions, there's COVID safety rules, and they need to be followed. And some businesses have been warned that they'll be fined for not adhering to the rules. Joining me live now is the Minister for Police and Emergency Services, David Elliott. Good to see you. First of all, let's stick on the positive. What did you do on Freedom Day?
Well, first up, went to see Mum in a nursing home. I hadn't seen her for 4 months, and she was good. She's got dementia, but she's hanging in there. Then I went and had coffee with a local hotelier, and then last night I went out for a few quiet ones with some mates.
Okay, I'm glad they were quiet. Businesses, what was your experiences yesterday? We all had to check in. You need to socially distance. You need to wear a mask. But were you being checked for your vaccine passport?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I walked around or went around my electorate yesterday just to check out how the businesses were dealing with it, and the two, the pub and the club, both did it very, very well. There was no dramas from what I could see. Obviously, the barbers all had line up, and that of course is going to happen probably over the course of the week as everybody, bar me, catches up with their haircuts. And I was really, really impressed at the nursing home as well. I got a bit of a cheer as I walked in. I thought it was an endorsement of the government's policy, but apparently I was the first visitor in 4 months, so that's why they were happy to see me.
Oh wow, that's certainly great. You do forget sometimes about not just the restrictions and the business not being able to open, but families certainly kept apart, and also residents in nursing homes being kept isolated for so many months. But when it does come to businesses, I mean, the public health order says that businesses need to take reasonable steps to ensure that customers are vaccinated. So they're not going to be fined if they miss a customer here and there or don't explicitly ask for the passport, are they?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. I mean, what we've found in the last couple of months, Laura, is the people that have been fined have been people that have been belligerent and deliberately just disobeying the law, thinking they're above the laws, thinking that the law didn't apply to them. So that's the appeal. I mean, as I said, I was really impressed with yesterday with the businesses in my electorate, but I'm very conscious of the fact that some people are going to think that they can test the system, and that's when the police will come and have to take matters over for the businesses. But you know, the vaccination rate's going at a rate of my electorate. I think it's about 96% have had the vaccine. So I'm not expecting any trouble in my area, but there are going to be some demographics that will probably want to jack up and not happy about that. And the police are there, whether or not you're wanting to flout the rules for public health orders or flout the rules with, fail to quit at a licensed establishment. That's what the police are there for, and they will attend.
What is the directive to police, though? Will they be going, restaurant to restaurant, going through customers, asking them to see their vaccine passport, or is it on a call-out basis from these businesses?
Yeah, certainly not. I mean, the police are very conscious. I'm very conscious. The Commissioner's very conscious, and certainly the Premier's very conscious that the police have had a high profile over the course of the lockdown, and that's not something that that I think sits comfortably with many Australians. Certainly not with me. So I'm quite happy that they will be there as and when required. It's not going to be the police force's job, nor should it be in a civilised society for them to go and ask for papers just because you're sitting at a restaurant or a bar. They will be there for people that just want to completely flout the rules as a last resort.
So, in many ways, this is a social contract that people are going into. If they go to restaurants and they're vaccinated, they're unvaccinated, they flout the rules, and they also risk a fine as well. But, David Elliott, at what point do you think that we no longer have a requirement for a vaccine passport? By Christmas, perhaps earlier?
Well, that's a matter for the Premier, and I'm sure he'll consult with the Health Minister, and I'm sure he'll consult with police and the business community. I mean, I think you're probably right. I mean, I think there's going to be a point very soon over the course of the next couple of months where our wonderful endorsement of the vaccine will have to pay dividends, and one of those dividends will be whether or not we need to check. And there's always going to be high-risk environments. There are always going to be areas in our community where we're going to have to be conscious of the vulnerable. Like I have no hesitation in using QR codes and registering and showing my vaccine certificate to visit mum in the nursing home. But I think there's probably going to be a time when, for me to sit at the beer garden, that mightn't be necessary. It mightn't. The benefits may not be outweighed by the need. So again, this is a moving feast. It's moving rapidly, and I think we should all congratulate ourselves for that. And I think that probably Gladys will need to be given a lot of the credit for that, because she stared a lot of critics down, including from within government, who were questioning whether or not it was the right. Some of the decisions were the right ones, but I think they were. And now it's up to Dom to turbocharge the economy.
Well, he's made some pretty decisive decisions, let's say. Also, the Everest crowd has doubled this weekend. Any concerns around that?
No, because again, I think that so long as everybody follows the recommendations, I think that's probably psychologically we need these things right now. We really do. And I think if we're boasting this weekend probably before 80% double vaxxed, and if we're boasting that if we take into account the fact that particular facility was built for a lot more than 10,000.
Yeah.
I think that there's no difference for us to be going into compartmentised areas at the racetrack than there would be if we were going into a dining room at a restaurant or somebody's home. I mean, I think, but again, this is all about making sure we learn to live with COVID, at least for the time being.
We're going to hit 80% in New South Wales. We're leading the nation, certainly with the COVID recovery. We could hit 80% this weekend. As soon as we hit that 80% double dose mark, do you think we should be able to travel to the regions and enjoy more of those freedoms, or do we really have to wait another week?
Oh, listen, I mean, I don't think, for the sake of peace of mind in the regions, I think that it's quite reasonable for us to wait another week so that the regions can catch up. And I must say that I'm like most people, just can't wait to get on the road and visit some regional areas. But I'm very conscious of the fact, and you heard in the earlier interview before me, that there are some Indigenous communities that have got as little as 6%. So I don't think any of us could live with ourselves if we went to a region with COVID and a vulnerable community, an Indigenous community, and then gave them and spread COVID. Just because we're double dosed doesn't mean we can't spread it. So
yeah.
I'm going to err on the side of caution on that one. And I think that, there are enough pubs and clubs in my electorate for me to keep making welfare visits to keep me busy for the next couple of weeks before I get on the road to Dubbo.
I like it. Welfare visits to the pubs and clubs. And look, we haven't been out for 15 long weeks. Any leniency for any social behaviour, or police won't be putting up with that?
Listen, I went to 2 venues yesterday and there was no evidence of antisocial behaviour. There probably will be. I mean, I got an 18-year-old who had his birthday the week after lockdown. I've had to read the riot act to him about his behaviour in licensed premises, because it's like kid in the candy shop for a lot of these kids, particularly as they lead up to the HSC and past their HSC. So, it's going to be, it will be business as usual. If you play up in a pub, well, the licensee will kick you out or call the police or both. And if you do the wrong thing at a club, well, the club manager's got an obligation to make sure that you do the right thing. And I don't think that after the initial sugar hit of us all being able to get back to the hospitality industry, I'd like to think that it'll be just business as usual.
Well, let's hope so. David Elliott, thanks so much.
Thanks, Laura.